Well, 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 well. Look who I've run into. One of my favorite people in the world, Ivan Raiklin, the Minister of Retribution.
Secretary.
Oh, Secretary. Well,
Oh,
Minister,
I'm
Secretary.
America's Secretary of Retribution. Minister would be like a foreign country,
Oh, that's
right?
true.
Because it's
That's
usually
true.
minister of this and that. But I think other people have called me that. I've been
Yes.
called worse.
Yes. And that is true. So tell me everything that's going on. Last time I
Everything
saw you,
in 1 minute.
yeah, last time I saw you, you came on the podcast, which was great.
Yeah,
And before
here in
that,
California.
yes. And before that, we had met at the Flynn movie. So are they getting ready to start?
They might be.
Okay, well, talk to me real quick. What's going on?
What's going on? I think you're starting to see live stream swatting raids beginning.
And we need it. And your
With
number
Mr.
one target.
Bolton.
Yeah, so what do you think about that?
That wasn't my first target, but if I were to deeply think through and say, you know what, they're actually strategically thinking through things, the reason why they went after Bolton is because he's been in the system for the Bush, Cheney, Pence syndicate for decades. So if Trump wants to reel in the Republicans and tell them, hey, you're going to play ball with me as we go after all these scum uh, other side folks, we're going to need you to start singing. So I don't
Yes.
suspect they're going to do anything to Bolton. They're just going to use him as a method and mechanism to make sure that the half of the country is in agreement with going after the other half.
We had to cut away there for a second because it started getting a little noisy. So we were talking about John Bolton. Now, the one thing about John Bolton that I find interesting, I remember when President Trump fired him in the first administration, there were photos of him in Qatar. Do you remember that?
I vaguely remember that,
Oh,
but I
yeah.
just, if I may, just to kind of close off the question of why did they go after John Bolton first? I believe they went after him first because he represents a group of individuals that promote constant and perpetual war that make massive amounts of money to the military industrial complex in America. And he represents, let's just say he's been in the game for decades. And so if he violated the law by holding classified information, which he can't, it serves a couple of different purposes. One, it publicly really shows to him, because he was advocating that, hey, President Trump, him having quote classified documents that he declassified actually was illegal. It's essentially an eye for an eye, right? It's reciprocity. So they're going after him for that, but more importantly, strategically, it's in order to get him, and not so much him, but all the communications that he has that prove the illegality. But in addition to that, it will showcase all of his communications with certain individuals that went after us over the last 4-6 years. Fraud, waste, and abuse of American taxpayer dollars in order to fund perpetual wars that are unnecessary. Being very diplomatic when I say
You are being
that.
very diplomatic because I have said from day one Russiagate was treason. Russiagate, they tried to
You're being
overthrow.
diplomatic.
They tried to overthrow the president of the United States. They tried to destroy General Flynn's life, and I want justice.
Some people call it justice, others call it accountability, and yet others call it retribution. And I'm starting to hear a term being used more and more often that's considered a common use term that's palatable. But in the past, a lot of people said it was a negative term, but I think at this point, America is demanding retaliation, punishment, justice, accountability, and retribution all in one. They want it all.
My concern, it has to happen before the midterms. It just does.
Keep in mind that, yes, federal midterms are next year,
Yeah.
but Virginia and New Jersey have elections this year. So does New York City have a mayoral race. 3 months. And actually,
Newscomb just did this
in 2 weeks,
unconstitutional.
early voting starts in Virginia for their governor's race, our governor's race, because I'm from Virginia, lieutenant governor, attorney general. So get this, if the Democrats win in Virginia this year, this is how important it is, and everybody's blind to it, has no clue. Imagine there's a change in governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. That means they can now do what they used to do and go after every single person in the federal government that is exposing, one, the corruption. The attorney general in Virginia can now go after them and stop it from happening. If we lose Virginia, it will have a massive second and third order effect. And guess who one of the candidates is? in the Virginia governor's race, former John Brennan lackey.
John Brennan needs to go to jail. They all need to go to jail. We're being diplomatic.
Again, after due process, your probable cause, you got to meet the elements of the crimes beyond a reasonable doubt before a jury of his peers with full due process. And at the end of it, then absolutely, if that's what the jury decides, then that's what needs to happen. And I think the American jury pool is ready for that.
And we can't have these trials in D.C. anymore.
Florida, and in Oklahoma, and Missouri, and Texas, Kansas, and Louisiana are some states that come to mind. The dynamics and the courage of each of those office holders.
Right. In California yesterday, Gavin Newsom broke our own constitution. Newsom broke our own constitution by this gerrymandering bill. We're already gerrymandered to the hilt. I think we have 40% of the vote, yet we have 17% representation. I need red states to start doing this nationwide because we haven't. And I think it could be a game changer.
Texas it needs to be commensurate with the population, and it needs to be more contiguous.
It needs every red state needs to do it because the Democrats here, if you go back and watch the hearing, the entire hearing was Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, the dictator. Oh, the this. Oh, the that. These people are sick. They are sick.
So I think one solution to this problem that we have of illegal elections is to remove non-U.S. citizen voters from being able to vote in federal elections at a minimum, right?
Well, you're in the belly of the beast.
That would require the removal of upwards of 100 million people.
And we know that Biden let in, I believe the numbers are up to 20 million people. He lost 300,000 children in this very county. The Glass House Farm raid happened. They found 2 convicted rapists with 2 deportation orders, a child molester with 14 trafficked children. And even now we've got NGOs, Indivisible, funded by George Soros, and we've got UndocuFund and Law Defensa going to our city council meetings and our board of supervisors meeting demanding millions of dollars to dox ICE and to follow ICE, and they've got a rapid response number to report. These people are criminals, and every Democrat was there.
For that quick solution is to know who's running these organizations, right? Who's funding these organizations, and they can do similar actions on them as they did to John Bolton, times a trillion, on steroids. Even more aggressive than it was done to Roger Stone. Actually, you know what needs to be done? A combination of what they did to Roger Stone, General Flynn, Steve Bannon, Mike Lindell, Scott Perry, Peter Navarro, times a trillion, Paul Manafort.
Yeah, so many. So it looks like this event's getting ready to start. I'm going to get this man back on the podcast because he's super fun and I love talking to him. Ivan, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Lori.